Attractiveness is about more than just hip to waist ratios and making sure that your head is angled at the right place and wearing the right colors and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, those things obviously can help, and wearing the right kind of clothes and all that kind of stuff can help. But there's some deeper things that men are really attracted to that I thought would be really beneficial for you to know more about. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you want to be more attractive to men, there are very specific things that you can do to make him feel more attracted to you. Hello, my name is Matthew Coast, and welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to be talking about the 5 things that men find highly attractive in women. So, the number one first thing is having a sense of humor. And so, it's one of those things where if you look at the different studies that have been done on sense of humor in the attractiveness of two people, both men and women are both looking for somebody that they're attracted to. And there's a very clear and distinct difference if you haven't heard about this yet. And it's that, excuse me, it's that women look for men who will make her laugh, whereas men look for women who think that he's funny. And so it's one of those things where like men are trying to be funnier, but you don't have to be as funny. It's actually better for you because as a man, we have to learn how to be funny. Whereas women, as for you, you just have to learn how to laugh a little bit more, right? So here's my suggestion on this one. Allow yourself to be won over by a man's humor. If you want him to feel more attracted to you, allow him to be funny to you, right? Allow yourself to be won over by the jokes that he tells and whatever he's saying. You'll have a better time. He'll have a better time, and you'll both end up liking each other a lot more if you do this. And here's what I suggest that you should do. Just practice laughing. Practice just laughing at yourself, laughing at life, laughing at different comedies, or just practice getting into a laughing mood and enjoying and laughing and having fun. It's actually a very, very attractive thing. Number 2 is playfulness. And so love is not serious. It's playful and it's fun. And a lot of women think that men only like younger women. And this is absolutely not true. There've been studies that they've done on this, and they found that women over the age of 40, around 34% of them, are actually dating men who are younger than they are. And this is sometimes 5 years, sometimes 10 years, sometimes even 20 or more years younger than they are. It is absolutely not true that men only like younger women. There's a guy that I know who's a player in the men's dating industry, and he recently got married, and the woman that he got married to is older than he is, right? And it's kind of funny, but I've seen this over and over and over again. And there's a lot of guys, I know a lot of guys. There's actually another guy that I know in the men's dating industry who got married to a woman who's older than he is as well. And we hear it a lot in our community. There are tons of women. I have a video about the different things that make women who are older more attractive than some of the women that are younger. And there's a lot of great things. There's a lot of really attractive things about older women. However, you shouldn't act like an old person. If you don't know what I'm talking about with kind of being an old person, it's like when you're all like, you've like given up on life, or you're just like overly critical of everything, or you're just jaded and all that kind of stuff. That is not attractive, right? Being an old person, like having an old person's mindset, is not attractive. It is attractive, however, to have youthfulness, right? Men are attracted to youthfulness, and the fastest way to be youthful is to be playful. And so we're getting back to it, right? So obviously there's a time and a place for everything. It takes emotional intelligence to know when to be playful and when to be serious. You don't want to be playful at the wrong times, but you do want to have some fun in most situations when you're interacting with a guy and you want him to feel more attracted to you. Then you want to be playful. You want to have fun. How can you let go of the tension and the stress that has you bogged down in life? And how can you get a childlike curiosity and wonderment and a feeling of just playing, like a mindset of just being in play, right? And having fun and just, doing all these things, kind of picking up things from from your youth, right? From your youthfulness, and pulling that into a situation and a connection that you have with a man. That's really, really powerful. Number three is owning yourself. And so this is actually what most people are talking about when they talk about confidence being attractive. But what they really are talking about is owning yourself, because confidence in itself isn't really, it's kind of attractive, but what's really attractive is someone who just really like takes charge of themselves and just, owns their body and owns who they are and owns everything, right? If you're constantly insecure and you're not sure about, your value and your worth and whether you're enough for a man and all that kind of stuff, that is not attractive at all, right? Taking on this thing where you look at yourself and you own a part of yourself, that's really attractive. But you might be thinking right now, but Matt, how do I do this in the real world? What are you actually talking about? How do I do this? And so let me give you a hint on this. It's all really about how you feel about yourself. And so there's a concept called the self-image, and having an image in your mind of yourself that you're proud of and that you love is really what we're talking about here. And so how can you look at yourself in a way that excites you and makes you proud? Here's what I suggest that you do. Every night before you go to bed, do this. This is something that I do every single night. Ask yourself what you can be proud of, and don't go to sleep until you can find at least 5 things. Like I said, I do this every night, right? And I just come up with things from the day, things from my life, things from, different parts of who I am and what I've done and what I've created in my life, things that I've gotten through, things that I've persisted, any of that kind of stuff, any kind of accomplishments or anything. And if you really start doing this over and over and over again, you'll start finding that you can just create a huge list of different things. And then you'll start feeling more calm and more collected and more like your life has been really full of treasure, and that you can really be proud of yourself, and that you're a really awesome person, and that you're a more awesome person than you probably give yourself credit for. And so the whole point is to get yourself to this place where you see how awesome it is that you are. So number 4 is generally positive. So you don't have to be positive all the time, but you want to be generally positive. And when I actually posted a video that was saying that I was going to be doing this video, I actually had a woman get on there and she commented something about how she's old and she's not attractive and nobody wants her, and she's better off being alone and all that kind of stuff. And that's like that's the opposite, right? Who wants to be around somebody who's like just negative Nancy all the time? You don't. Nobody does. Nobody at all. So let me ask you something. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that you hate life and you hate men and you're bitter and life sucks and you're totally jaded and everything sucks and you think everything sucks, that's 1, right? And 10 being that you love every day and you love life and you love men and you love relationships and you're excited about your life and you look at your future as being something that's bright and amazing and wonderful. Where do you fit? Where does your emotions fit on that scale of 1 to 10? Where are you? Post it in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you emotionally? 1 being that you hate life and blah, 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 and 10 being that you absolutely love life and you're just excited and everything every single day. And so here's what I want you to think of. So just think about that number of where you say that you are, and then ask yourself this question. Would you date a man who was that same number, right? Would you date a man who's a 6? Would you date a man who's a 5? Would you date a man who's a 7 or a 4, right? What is your number? And would you date a man who is that number? Just think about that. Think about that for a second. And if you need to make a change here, because maybe you're on maybe you're a 10, maybe you're a 1, who knows? But if you need to make a change here, it can take some time, because this is simply a habit. It's a habit that you develop over time, and it's not who you are. Sometimes I get women that are like, well, I'm just a negative person and that's who I am, right? And it's only who you are if you take that on as an identity. In reality, it's something that you picked up probably years ago, and you've done it so many times over and over and over again that you've become really comfortable with it. And so you think that's who you are, but it's not really who you are. It's just what you're doing. And so you can change that habit anytime that you want to. You don't need to be smiles all the time, right? You don't have to always be happy and, whatever, right? Like there's, we call it like the perma smile, where you're just like, like, I don't know if you know people like that, but you don't need to be like that. And it's actually kind of creepy and weird. So don't do that. Instead, you want to have a generally positive outlook on your life and life in general and the world in general, because that is far more attractive than the opposite. So number five is being independent but attainable. Remember, the magic is in the middle here. If you're too independent, right? If you've gone off the deep end of being too independent, men won't feel like there's a space in your life for them. And that's a problem. If he doesn't feel like he can be in there, he's going to feel like you're not attainable, like he can't get you. And so he'll probably go somewhere else and go find a woman who he can attain and he can be a part of her life. And on the other end of the spectrum, if you're too easy and available all the time, men will feel like you have nothing going on in your life and, start questioning whether you're somebody that they actually want to be with or not. And it'll feel a little bit too easy for them, and they won't value you as much if they don't have to work for you and earn you and, be in your life. And so instead, there's a middle ground where you have your own life, but at the same time, you also have space for a man to be there. If he's the right kind of guy, if he wins you over, if he's consistent with you in pursuing you and chasing you and showing you that he's the kind of guy that wants to be in your life and wants to have you in the type of relationship that you want, and shows you that he believes that you're valuable and you're amazing and you're special and you're wonderful and you're different than all the other women out there, and that he wants something special and real with you. And you want to be independent and attainable. And I know some people are going to be complaining about this whole thing. Just remember that this is also really attractive in men, right? If you get a man who's just totally available and he's got nothing going on in his life, how attractive is he to you? Or if you meet a man and he's totally unattainable, you don't feel like you can even be there with him because he's working all the time and he has no room for you in his life. How attractive is that? You feel like you can't ever win with him. And so most women will actually walk out of that situation as well. Going back over the five things men find highly attractive in women. Number one is having a sense of humor, laughing at his jokes. And he can laugh at your jokes too. It's no big deal. But it's actually more important for most men psychologically that you're laughing at his, because he wants to feel like, he's won you over. Number two is playfulness. Playfulness it's something that love is not serious, right? Love is playful. There's kind of this childlike wonderment to love and connection, right? And that stays there forever. If you look at old couples that have been together forever, they still play together. They still tease each other. They still laugh. They still tickle each other and all that kind of stuff. It's really awesome. Number 3 is owning yourself. So this is the real thing that people are talking about with confidence. And what we're really talking about is having a powerful self-image that you are proud of. Number 4 is being generally positive. You don't have to be all smiles all the time, but you do want to have a great outlook on life. And then number 5 is being independent, but also attainable. And remember that the magic is in the middle. Magic is in the middle, people. Magic is in the middle.